They're happening because of you. Let that sink in for a moment. Every word that has ever echoed in your head, every judgment, every story, every fear, every little whisper of hope, it didn't just show up out of nowhere like some stranger barging through your front door. You opened that door, you let it in, you gave it space to sit down and start talking. Most people never realize this. They think thoughts are like the weather, random, out of their control, something that just happens. Clouds roll in, rain falls, sunshine, and their only job is to put up an umbrella when it storms. But that's the greatest illusion of all. You are not the helpless passenger of your own mind. You are the driver. You've been holding the wheel the whole time. You just never learned how to steer. Here's the problem. Most people are living in what psychologists call unconscious thought loops. Same thoughts today as yesterday. Same again tomorrow. Worry loop, doubt loops, self-criticism loop. And because your brain is wired to repeat what feels familiar, you don't even notice it's happening. You think it's just the way I am. But it's not. It's programming. It's conditioning. It's the software of your mind running on autopilot. Think about the research suggests the average human has about 60,000 thoughts every single day. 60,000. That's a flood of mental chatter. But here's the kicker. Over 90% of those thoughts are recycled, old, repeated, hand-me-downs from yesterday, last year, even childhood. It's like living in a house full of old furniture you never chose but learned to live with. And some of that furniture is broken. Some of it is toxic. Some of it is keeping you stuck in the same four walls of your life. Now imagine this. Your mind is like a wild dog, untamed, hungry, snapping at anything that moves. If you leave it alone, it'll tear up your garden. It'll knock over your dreams. It'll bite holes in your relationships and shred your confidence into scraps. That's what happens when thoughts run without discipline. But take that same dog, train it, guide it, and give it direction, and suddenly it becomes your greatest protector. Your loyal companion, the force that helps you build the life you want instead of destroying it. This is not philosophy. This is psychology. This is neuroscience. And here's where it gets powerful. Your brain is not fixed. It's not locked in stone. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. It means your brain literally rewires itself every time you think, every time you feel, every time you repeat a pattern. Every thought strengthens a pathway. Every ignored thought allows another to weaken. Think of it like trails in a forest. Walk the same trail every day and it becomes clear, easy to follow. Stop using it and nature grows back over. That's how thoughts work. That's how habits of thinking are born. And that's how they can die too. But here's what most people do. They try to fight their thoughts. They try to push away fear, to silence self-doubt, to force positivity. And the harder they push, the stronger those thoughts become. Psychologists call it ironic process theory. The more you tell yourself not to think about something, the louder it gets. Don't think about a pink elephant. Don't picture it. Don't imagine it. And there it is, stamped on your mind. That's why simply forcing positive thinking doesn't work. That's why repeating affirmations you don't believe feels fake. Real thought control isn't about fighting. It's about guiding. So let me ask you, how many of your 60,000 thoughts today are actually working for you? How many are pulling you closer to the life you want? How many are lifting your energy, expanding your vision, fueling your confidence? And how many are draining you, shrinking you, keeping you locked in fear, replaying old pain, whispering you're not enough? If you're like most people, the majority are not on your side. And that's not because you're broken. It's because no one ever taught you how to take control of your own mind. That ends today. Because thought control isn't some mystical gift reserved for monks or geniuses. It's a skill, a trainable, learnable skill. And once you master it, everything changes. Imagine standing in front of an orchestra. Every instrument represents a type of thought. The violins are your hopes. The drums are your fears. The flutes are your memories. The horns are your ambitions. Right now, most people are letting the orchestra play whatever it wants. Chaos, noise, sometimes a tune, but mostly just sound. But thought mastery turns you into the conductor. You choose what plays louder. You quiet the noise. You bring harmony to the chaos. And for the first time, your mind creates music instead of madness. This is why thought control is not a luxury. It's a necessity, because your life is nothing more than the sum of your dominant thoughts made real. Every breakthrough you've ever had started as a single thought. Every invention, every relationship, every achievement, all of it began as an idea, a mental seed that was nurtured until it became reality. Now here's where I need to be direct. Once you see this truth, there's no going back. You can no longer claim to be a victim of your own mind. Because the moment you recognize you're not your thoughts, but the one who chooses them, you become responsible. Every mental loop you allow to run, every belief you keep feeding, every story you rehearse in your head, it's your choice and your responsibility. So if you're tired of living on autopilot, if you're tired of letting the old programming of teachers, parents, society, and outdated experiences dictate your future, if you're tired of waking up each day with the same worries, the same doubt, the same patterns dragging you down, then it's time to step up, to claim the role you were always meant to play, the architect of your own mental landscape. Because here's the truth. Your mind is the most powerful tool you will ever own. More powerful than money, more powerful than luck, more powerful than circumstance. With it, you can build a life of clarity, confidence, and freedom. Without it, you can have all the opportunities in the world and still sabotage yourself. So the question is, are you ready? Are you ready to stop drifting and start designing? Are you ready to stop being the passive viewer of whatever random movie your unconscious mind plays and start being the director of your own story? Are you ready to learn the science, the psychology, the proven techniques that high performers use every single day to filter, edit, and direct their thoughts with precision and power? Because that's what we're about to do together. We're going to rewire your mental operating system from the ground up. We're going to take apart the outdated programming, expose the hidden loops, and replace them with patterns that serve you instead of sabotage you. We're going to turn your mind into your greatest ally. This is not about shallow positivity. This is not about pretending life is perfect. This is about mental mastery, the ability to look at every thought, every emotion, every belief, and ask one simple question: does this serve me? If yeah, amplify it. If no, redirect it. That's the art. That's the science. And that's the power waiting for you. So here's your choice. You can stay the same. You can keep letting 60,000 untrained thoughts run wild, chewing holes in your confidence, shredding your dreams, keeping you stuck in cycles you didn't choose. Or you can step into this journey. You can learn to harness your thoughts, to rewire your brain, to design your inner world so powerfully that your outer world has no choice but to transform. The victim mentality dies here. The excuses end here. Because once you understand this, once you see it clearly, you'll never again believe the lie that you are powerless against your own mind. You're not powerless. You're not broken. You're simply untrained. And training starts now. Welcome to the hidden power of thought control. The chapter where everything changes. The chapter where you finally wake up to the truth. Your thoughts are not happening to you. They're happening because of you. And when you own that, when you take responsibility for it, you unlock the single greatest power any human being has ever had. The power to choose, the power to direct, the power to master your mind. And through it, your entire life. Picture this. You've got a dog, not a calm, loyal, well-trained companion. No, this one is wild. It's restless. It's unpredictable. It runs into the street, chews up your furniture, digs holes in your garden, barks at your neighbors, and leaves chaos wherever it goes. Now imagine trying to live with that animal, day in and day out. That's what an uncontrolled mind feels like. That's what happens when you let your thoughts run without direction. Every thought is like that dog dashing through your house. One moment it's tearing up your confidence. The next, it's gnawing on your dreams. A single worry thought can shred an entire plan before you even begin. A single doubt can bite into your courage and leave scars that take years to heal. And if you never take hold of the leash, if you never train it, then your mind will keep dragging you through the mud instead of leading you toward the life you want. Think about how this plays out in real life. You wake up in the morning, and before you even get out of bed, the wild dog is already barking. Thoughts like, I'm tired. I don't want to go to work. I'm behind. I can't do this. They chase you into the shower, into the car, into your day. By the time you sit down to work or to talk to someone you love, you're already exhausted because that wild mind has been yanking you around since sunrise. Or maybe it shows up in your relationships. A stray thought of insecurity. What if they don't really care about me? Instead of questioning it, you feed it. And before long, you're snapping at your partner or withdrawing your affection. Not because of reality, but because of a thought you never trained. That's the dog chewing up the couch again. And you let it. Dreams suffer too. You get inspired for a moment. You think, maybe I could start that business. Maybe I could write that book. Maybe I could apply for that opportunity. But then the wild dog bolts in with thoughts like, who are you to do that? You'll probably fail. People will laugh. And just like that, the dream is torn to pieces on the floor. This is the chaos of uncontrolled thoughts. And here's the truth. Most people live their entire lives this way. They let their wild mind run the show. They confuse motion with direction. They're always thinking, always busy, always exhausted, but rarely moving forward in a straight line. It's like being in a boat without a rudder. The waves toss you wherever they please, and you call it fate. But really, it's just drift. Drifting is the default mode of an untrained mind. You wake up, you react to whatever shows up. New, email, opinions, memories, worries. Your brain bounces from one thought to the next like a pinball machine. You're not choosing. You're not directing. You're not creating. You're drifting. And drifting has a cost. It costs you time. It costs you energy. It costs you your future. Let me show you the difference. Imagine two people. Both wake up to the same external circumstances. One has an untrained mind. They drift into the day, pulled by every worry, every distraction, every negative story their brain spits out. By noon, they're already drained, irritated, and doubting themselves. They accomplish little, and what they do accomplish feels heavy and forced. Now look at the second person. Same life, same challenges, but they've trained their mind. They wake up and direct their first thoughts toward gratitude, focus, and intention. They notice the negative thoughts, but they don't let them grab the leash. They choose what to think about. They choose what to feed. And by noon, they've already accomplished meaningful work with energy to spare. One person is dragged through the mud. The other is walking their dog with confidence. Same circumstances, different mind, different life. Psychologists call this the difference between being reactive and being proactive. Reactive people are ruled by their thoughts. Proactive people rule their thoughts. A reactive mind is like a wild dog. A proactive mind is like a trained service animal. One destroys. The other protects. One drains. The other empowers. And the only difference is whether or not you take the time to train it. Here's the hard truth. If you don't train your thoughts, the world will, advertisers, social media, news cycle, other people's opinions. They will gladly program your mind for you if you leave it on autopilot. And their goals are not your goal. Their agenda is not your agenda. Left unchecked, your mind becomes a dumping ground for everyone else's noise. That's not a life you want to live. So let me ask you, are you drifting or are you designing? Are you letting your thoughts yank you through the day, leaving you tired, distracted, and unfulfilled? Or are you holding the leash, guiding your mind where you want it to go, and designing a life that reflects your highest vision? Designing means intention. It means choosing thoughts that serve you. It means training the wild dog to sit, to stay, to walk beside you. It means saying no to thoughts that drag you backward and yes to thoughts that pull you forward. It means building disciplines so strong that even when old doubts bark, you don't let them run loose. And let's be clear, training your mind is not about silencing every negative thought. That's impossible. And trying to do it only makes them loud. Training your mind means learning how to guide those thoughts. It's noticing when the dog pulls on the leash and calmly redirecting it. It's practicing focus, awareness, and discipline until your mind knows who's in charge. Because once you take control, the wild dog becomes your ally. The same energy that once tore apart your confidence can now be used to build it. The same restless mind that once sabotaged your dreams can now help you visualize them and make them real. The same inner critic that once barked at every mistake can now become your coach, giving you feedback that makes you stronger. This is the shift from chaos to clarity, from drifting to designing, from being dragged through life to walking with power. So here's the challenge. Stop letting the wild dog run your life. Stop mistaking noise for progress. Stop confusing motion for direction. Decide today to take the leash. Decide today to train your thoughts. Decide today that you will no longer drift but design, because your life is too valuable to waste on autopilot. Your dreams are too important to let them be chewed up by old doubts and fears. Your relationships, your health, your future, they all deserve a mind that's disciplined, focused, and under your command. You have the power to do this. You can turn the chaos into clarity. You can turn the wild dog into a loyal guardian. You can move from drifting aimlessly through days, months, and years to deliberately designing the life you want to live. And it starts with a single decision: to stop being the passenger of your thoughts and start being the trainer of them. To stop letting the wild mind pull you into fear, doubt, and distraction, and start guiding it into confidence, focus, and action. Drifting is easy. It requires nothing but neglect. But designing requires courage. It requires effort. It requires the willingness to take responsibility for your inner world. But once you do, you'll never look back. Because when you design your mind, you design your life. And when you design your life, you stop surviving and start thriving. The leash is in your hand. The question is, will you use it? Here's the biggest illusion you have ever believed. The idea that you are your thoughts, that the voice inside your head, the chatter, the commentary, the endless stream of opinions and judgments is actually you. It feels that way, doesn't it? You hear it all day, every day, and you think, this must be me talking. But it's not. That voice is not your true self. It's just mental noise. Think about that. Right now, you're listening to me, but you're also listening to yourself. Thoughts are popping up even as you read these words. Maybe you're agreeing. Maybe you're resisting. Maybe you're thinking about something you forgot to do earlier. The point is, thoughts are flowing. But ask yourself this: if you are really identical to those thoughts, then who is the one noticing them? Who is the one aware of the fact that thinking is happening? That's the crack in the illusion. You are not the thoughts. You are the one observing them. Psychologists call this metacognition, the ability to think about your thinking, to step back and watch your mind at work instead of being lost inside it. And once you understand this distinction, everything begins to change. Let me give you a picture. Imagine you're standing on a bridge over a highway. Cars are rushing by beneath you. Some are loud, some are quiet, some are flashy. Some are broken down. Each car is a thought, worries, memories, judgment, ideas. They just keep coming, one after another. Now, most people live their lives in the middle of the highway. They get hit by one car, then another, then another. A worry slams into them. A memory knocks them down. A judgment runs them over. They're battered, exhausted, and they think this is normal. But when you step up onto the bridge, when you rise into awareness, suddenly you see the truth. The thoughts are just cars, passing traffic. Some are useful, some are junk, but none of them are you. You are the observer, the witness, the one watching from above. You don't have to chase every car. You don't have to lie down in front of them. You don't have to grab the bumper and let them drag you down the road. You can simply notice, let them pass, and choose which ones are worth your attention. This is one of the most powerful psychological shifts you will ever experience. Because the moment you realize you are the observer, not the thought, you take back your power. Thoughts no longer control you. You control your relationship to them. Now, I know what you might be thinking. But if I'm not my thoughts, then what am I? You are awareness, the silent presence that notices the noise, the part of you that can step back and say, ah, there goes a thought about fear. There goes a thought about my past. There goes a thought about success. That witnessing self is your true self. Let's get practical. Say you're about to walk into an important meeting. A thought pops up. You're going to mess this up. If you believe you are your thought, you collapse. You shrink. You enter the room carrying the weight of that judgment as if it's a fact. But if you're the observer, you pause. You say, that's just a thought. Not me. Not true. Just traffic on the highway. And you let it pass. You choose a different thought to focus on. Maybe I'm prepared. I know what I'm doing. That single shift changes how you walk into the room, how you speak, and how people respond. This is not theory. This is backed by science. Studies on mindfulness and cognitive behavioral therapy both confirm the power of separating self from thought. When people learn to observe their thoughts rather than identify with them, anxiety decreases, resilience increases, and decision-making improves because now they have space. They're not being run over by traffic. They're standing on the bridge. Here's another example. You're trying to fall asleep, but your mind won't stop. Thoughts about tomorrow. Thoughts about what went wrong today. Thoughts about what someone said to you 5 years ago. If you identify with those thoughts, you spiral. You toss and turn. You rehearse the arguments. You feel your body tense. Sleep slips away. But as the observer, you see it differently. You notice, oh, my brain is busy. It's producing traffic. You don't fight it. You don't wrestle with it. You just watch. And by watching, you create distance. That distance allows your nervous system to calm down, and sleep returns. The observer perspective is also the key to breaking destructive habit. Take someone who's trying to quit smoking. A craving thought pops up. I need a cigarette. If they believe they are the thought, they obey. But if they're the observer, they pause. They say, that's a craving thought. Just a car on the highway. It will pass. And it does. Studies show cravings usually peak and fade within minutes. If you can observe instead of obey, you win. Now let's zoom out. Imagine the impact this has on your entire life. How many of your problems are actually problems? And how many are just thoughts about problems? How much of your stress is reality? And how much is simply traffic in your head? When you confuse yourself with your thoughts, you suffer twice. First, from life itself. Then from the commentary your mind piles on top. But when you become the observer, the suffering cuts in half. Sometimes it disappears altogether. This is why the world's greatest leaders, athletes, and performers talk about mental clarity. They've learned to step back, to separate from the chatter, and to choose their focus. They're not thoughtless. They're thoughtful. And the difference is huge. Think of your thoughts like TV channels. If you don't know you have a remote, you'll sit there watching whatever plays. Drama, fear, comedy, static. But the observer knows they hold the remote. They can flip channels. They can turn the volume down. They can even turn the TV off. That's the power of awareness. And here's the best part. This skill is available to you right now. You don't need a special degree. You don't need to sit in a cave for 10 years meditating. You just need practice. Start by noticing. The next time a thought hits you hard, pause. Ask yourself, who is noticing this thought? Feel the space open up. Realize that you are the one watching, not the one being dragged. That tiny shift is everything. At first, it feels clumsy. You'll still get lost in traffic. You'll still get hit by cars. That's normal. But the more you practice, the faster you'll catch yourself. Eventually, you'll step onto the bridge automatically. And once you're up there, you'll never want to go back down. Because life is completely different when you live as the observer. You stop being controlled by every fear, every memory, every judgment. You start choosing. You start guiding. You start living from a place of clarity instead of chaos. So remember this. You are not the voice in your head. You are not the endless commentary. You are the one who hears it. You are the one who notices. You are the awareness behind it all. And when you finally accept that, when you finally live from that place, you gain a freedom most people never experience. The freedom to let thoughts come and go without being ruled by them. The freedom to choose which ones deserve your attention. The freedom to live as the master of your mind rather than its prisoner. Your thoughts are just traffic. You are the bridge. And the moment you realize that, the game changes forever. Here's the truth that changes everything. Your brain is not fixed. It's not frozen in stone. It's not some rigid machine that you're stuck with for life. Your brain is alive. It's flexible. It's dynamic. It's constantly reshaping itself every single day. The scientific word for this is neuroplasticity. And once you understand it, you'll never again believe the lie that you're stuck with the mind you have. Neuroplasticity means your brain rewires itself in response to your thoughts, your emotions, your actions, and your experiences. Every time you think a thought, you're not just entertaining an idea, you're strengthening a neural pathway. Imagine your brain as a massive forest. Each thought is like walking down a trail. Walk it once and you leave a faint mark. Walk it again and again and it becomes clearer. Keep walking and eventually it turns into a highway. Wide and easy to follow. That's why repeated thoughts feel automatic, natural, like second nature. You've carved a mental highway in your brain. Now here's the kicker. Just as you can create a trail by walking it, you can let an old one fade by not using it. Stop traveling down the road of self-doubt and slowly, the weeds grow back, the path fades. The highway of insecurity that once felt permanent begins to shrink. This is the science of change. Mental patterns are not permanent. They are simply the result of repetition, and repetition can be rewritten. Think about what this means for your life. That critical voice in your head, that loop of worry that won't stop, that habit of procrastination that seems impossible to break. None of it is who you are. It's just well-worn neural pathways. And with the right approach, those pathways can be weakened, while new empowering ones can be built. You can literally reprogram your brain. Now let's talk about how this actually happens. Neurons are brain cells. They communicate with each other through connections called synapses. When you think the same thought repeatedly, the neurons involved fire together again and again. And as the old saying in neuroscience goes, neurons that fire together, wire together. The connection gets stronger, faster, more automatic. That's why you don't have to remind yourself how to ride a bike or drive a car. The pathway is so strong, it runs on autopilot. But the same thing is true for unhelpful thoughts. If you've been telling yourself for years, I'm not good enough, that pathway is strong too. It feels automatic because you've practiced it, just like practicing an instrument. Here's the empowering part. You can build new wiring the exact same way, through practice, through repetition, through emotional intensity. Every time you choose a new thought and stick with it, you're laying down a new trail in the forest. At first, it feels awkward, unnatural, even fake. That's normal. It's just like walking through tall grass where there isn't a path yet. But keep going, walk it enough time, and that new thought becomes easier, stronger, automatic. Eventually, it becomes your new highway. But repetition alone isn't enough. Emotion is the fuel. Think about it. You've probably had moments in your life that changed you instantly. A breakup, a failure, a big win. Why did those moments stick? Because they carried emotional intensity. Emotion supercharges neuroplasticity. It's like pouring concrete over a trail to lock it in. That's why gratitude practices, affirmations, and visualizations work best when you feel them, not just say them. Without emotion, it's just empty word. With emotion, it's rewiring your brain. Let's make this practical. Imagine you want to build confidence. Right now, your brain might be wired for self-doubt. Every time you face a challenge, your automatic pathway said, I can't. To change it, you need a new pathway. So the next time the thought I can arises, you pause and deliberately replace it with, I'm learning. I'm growing. I can figure this out. At first, it feels clumsy. The old highway of self-doubt is still stronger. But each time you make the swap, you're walking the new trail. And if you bring emotion into it, if you picture yourself succeeding, if you remember times you have overcome challenges, if you feel the pride in advance, you're strengthening that wiring even fast. Do this daily, and over time, your automatic pathway changes. The old I can't shrinks. The new I can becomes your default. That's neuroplasticity in action. It works the same for breaking negative patterns. Let's say you worry constantly. The worry highway is wide and well-traveled. You want to change it. So every time you catch yourself worrying, you pause and label it. That's a worry thought. Just noticing begins to weaken the pathway. Then you replace it with a question like, what's one small action I can take right now? That simple question directs your brain down a new trail of problem solving instead of panic. Repeat that enough times with focus and emotion, and the worry loop loses its grip. This isn't magic. It's science. It's the biology of change, and it means you are never stuck. No matter how old you are, no matter how long you've been thinking a certain way, no matter how strong the old patterns feel, your brain can change. It wants to change. It's built to change. The only thing standing in your way is practice, and most people never practice. They read about positive thinking. They talk about change, but they never commit to the daily discipline of rewiring their brain. They expect instant result. But neuroplasticity is like working out. One trip to the gym won't transform your body. One day of new thoughts won't transform your mind. But consistent training with focus and emotion will. So here's what I want you to see. Every thought you think is like a vote for the old pathway or a vote for the new one. You are casting 60,000 votes every day. Which way are you voting? Toward fear, doubt, and limitation, or toward confidence, courage, and growth? The power is in your hand. You don't have to accept the pathways you inherited from your past. You don't have to keep running down the same old highways of insecurity and fear. You can choose new ones. You can build them, strengthen them, and make them automatic. Neuroplasticity is the proof that you're not broken. You're not stuck. You're not destined to live in the same loops forever. Your brain is a living, changing, adaptable system. And with repetition and emotion, you can shape it into the mind you need to create the life you want. So stop telling yourself the story that this is just who I am. No, this is just who you've practiced being. And you can practice something new. The question is, will you? Will you take the daily actions to rewire your brain? Will you choose thoughts that build highways toward your vision instead of detours into your fears? Because if you do, your life will change. Not someday, not maybe, but inevitably. Your brain is waiting. The science is clear. The power is real. The only thing missing is your decision to use it. Don't think about a pink elephant. Seriously, don't picture it. Don't imagine his big ears. Don't imagine the trunk. Don't see that giant pink body standing in front of you. What happened? You saw it, clear as day. That's the trap. Psychologists call this ironic process theory. The more you try not to think about something, the more your brain locks onto it. The harder you push it away, the stronger it digs in. Thought suppression doesn't erase the thought. It amplifies it. It's like telling your mind whatever you do, don't look there, and your mind says, got it? I'll stare right at it. We've all lived this trap. You tell yourself, stop worrying, and suddenly the worry is louder. You say, don't think about failing, and now the image of failure won't leave you alone. You try to push away the memory of something painful. Instead, it shows up at 2 a.m. Stronger than ever. That's the pink elephant effect. Fighting thoughts only feeds them. Here's why. Suppression takes energy. When you push a thought down, part of your mind is working overtime to keep it buried. But another part of your mind is scanning to make sure the thought isn't slipping back up. That constant scanning actually keeps the thought alive. It's like holding a beach ball underwater. You can press it down for a while, but it's still there. It's building pressure. And the moment you get tired, it explodes back to the surface. So what's the solution? It's not suppression. It's not resistance. It's guidance. Mastery comes not from fighting your thoughts, but from learning how to direct them. Think of your mind like a river. You can't stop the water from flowing. Try to block it completely, and it will overflow, flood, and drown you. But if you learn how to guide the current, to build channels and direct the flow, you harness the power of the water instead of being swept away by it. Let's get practical. Say you're nervous before a presentation. A thought pops up. I'm going to mess this up. If you fight it, if you say, stop thinking that, the thought grows louder. Instead, acknowledge it. Okay, I hear you. That's fear talking. Then guide it. Replace it with, I've prepared for this. I know my material. I'm ready. You don't deny the first thought. You redirect the energy into one that serves you. This is the difference between resistance and mastery. Resistance is like shadow boxing with your own mind. You punch. It punches back harder. Mastery is stepping out of the ring and altogether and deciding which fight is worth your energy. Another example, let's say you're trying to eat healthier, but every time you walk past a bakery, the thought screams, donut, donut, donut. If you resist, if you grit your teeth and say, don't think about donuts, guess what dominates your mind? Donuts, everywhere. But if you guide it, if you redirect, you can choose a new focus. I want energy. I want health. I want to feel strong. Suddenly your attention shifts. You've taken the spotlight off the donut and put it on the outcome you actually care about. The key principle here is this. Where focus goes, energy flows. Your brain doesn't understand the word don't. When you say, don't be nervous, it still hears nervous. When you say, don't fail, it still hears fail. That's why athletes don't tell themselves, don't miss. They tell themselves, hit the target. That's guidance. Think of it like training a child. If a kid is running toward danger, you don't just shout, don't run. You give them direction. Come here. Hold my hand. Let's go this way. Your thoughts need the same kind of parenting. Firm, clear, and positive redirection. This is also why mindfulness works so powerfully. Mindfulness is simply noticing the thought without judgment. You see the pink elephant? You say, ah, there it is, and then you let it pass. just like a cloud in the sky. No fighting, no forcing, just noticing and redirecting your attention to the present moment. Over time, this practice weakens the grip of intrusive thoughts because you stop feeding them with resistance. Now let's tie in neuroscience. Remember neuroplasticity. Every time you resist a thought, you fire the same neural pathway. That keeps it alive. But every time you acknowledge and redirect, you're laying down a new pathway. Repetition and emotion strengthen the new wiring until it becomes your automatic response. That's why guidance beats resistance. Suppression locks the old pathway in place. Guidance builds a new one. Here's another metaphor. Imagine you're walking a dog. The dog wants to chase every squirrel, every car, every shadow. If you yank the leash and shout, "No, stop, don't," the dog pulls hard. But if you calmly guide it, redirect its attention, maybe with a treat or a command, you teach it to follow you instead of every distraction. Your mind works the same way. You don't yank, you guide. So what does mastery look like in everyday life? It looks like catching yourself when you say, "Don't mess this up," and shifting to focus, do your best. It looks like noticing when your brain says, "Don't think about the past," and instead choosing, "What's one step I can take forward right now?" It looks like swapping resistance for redirection. Every single time, this is not about ignoring reality. It's not about pretending you never feel fear, doubt, or temptation. It's about recognizing that those thoughts are just traffic. They show up, but you don't have to give them the wheel. You guide them, you redirect them, you decide where the mind goes. The greatest performers in every field know this. They don't waste energy fighting thoughts. They accept them, redirect them, and move forward. That's why they can perform under pressure. That's why they can stay calm in chaos. They know the pink elephant will always show up. They just don't let it run the show. So here's the takeaway. Stop fighting your mind. Stop wasting your energy on resistance. The more you push against a thought, the stronger it becomes. Instead, step into mastery. Guide your thoughts. Redirect them. Choose where your focus goes. Because every moment you resist, you reinforce. But every moment you redirect, you rewire. And over time, those new pathways become your new reality. The pink elephant trap doesn't have to own you. You can smile when it shows up. You can nod at it. And then you can point your mind where you want it to go. That's the art. That's the science. And that's how you stop being dragged by your thoughts and start leading them. Remember, the goal isn't to never see the pink elephant. The goal is to see it, smile, and walk right past it. That's thought mastery. And that's freedom. Let's be clear. Thought control is not a luxury. It's not something nice to practice when you have spare time. It's not a bonus skill for monks and gurus sitting on mountains. Thought control is survival. It is the dividing line between mediocrity and magnificence, between drifting through life and actually designing it, between being controlled by your circumstances and creating circumstances that serve you. Most people live as prisoners of their own minds. They don't even know it. They wake up each morning and immediately get pulled into old loops, worry, doubt, self-criticism. Their thoughts push them around like a bully on the playground. And day after day, they accept it. They settle. They think, "This is just the way I am." But here's the truth. That's not who you are. That's just untrained thinking. Now look at the other side. The people who break through, the inventors, the leaders, the artists, the entrepreneurs, the athletes who rise above the rest, do they have more hours in the day? No. Do they have magical brains? No. They simply use thought control with precision. They know that every achievement begins in the mind long before it shows up in the world. Think about Thomas Edison. Do you really believe he invented the light bulb on the first try? Of course not. He failed thousands of times. But here's the difference. His thought control was iron. Where most people would think, "I failed," I'm not cut out for this. Edison thought, I've discovered another way that doesn't work. I'm closer to the answer. That single controlled thought kept him moving forward while others gave up. Look at athletes like Michael Jordan or Serena Williams. The moment before the big shot, the big serves, fear shows up. Doubt shows up. What if I miss? What if I lose? Those thoughts come for everyone. But champions don't let those thoughts take the wheel. They redirect. They say, I've done this 1,000 times. I trust my training. That's thought control in action. That's why under pressure, they rise instead of crumble. Or take entrepreneurs, the ones who build companies that change the world. Every one of them faces setbacks, rejection, financial risk, failure after failure. But instead of letting those thoughts of defeat take root, they practice mental discipline. They choose to see problems as puzzles, setbacks as lessons, challenges as opportunities. That mental control is what allows them to keep innovating while everyone else quits. The difference is not talent. It's not luck. It's thought mastery. Let's break this down with psychology. The average person has 60,000 thoughts a day, but most of them are recycled, negative, and unconscious. If 90% of your thoughts are the same as yesterday, and most of those are rooted in fear or doubt, then you're essentially living the same day on repeat. That's mediocrity. Same loops, same result, same life. But controlled thinking interrupts the loop. It inserts new patterns. It shifts focus from problems to solutions, from doubt to possibility, from fear to courage. And every time you choose an empowering thought over a limiting one, you're rewiring your brain through neuroplasticity. You're building the mental highways of success. Controlled thinking also shapes your perception. Remember the reticular activating system, your brain's filter. It highlights what you focus on. If your thoughts are scattered and negative, your filter only shows you obstacle. But if your thoughts are disciplined and intentional, your filter reveals opportunities that others can't even see. Two people can face the same situation. One sees a dead end. The other sees a hidden door. Same reality, different thought control. This is why I say thought control is not optional. Without it, you will always default to mediocrity. Because the world is noisy, distracting, full of negativity. If you don't take control of your mental landscape, the environment will take it for you. Social media, news, other people's opinions, all of it programs your mind by default. And if you let the world do the programming, don't be surprised when the results are average at best. But when you step up and take the reins, when you consciously choose your dominant thoughts, everything shifts. Suddenly, you're not just reacting, you're designing. You're not just surviving, you're creating. And the results show up everywhere. In your confidence, in your relationships, in your performance, in your ability to handle setbacks without breaking. Let's make this real. Imagine two people with the exact same talent and resources. One drifts through life, letting every thought pull them in different directions. They start projects and quit them. They dream big but sabotage themselves. They feel busy but get nowhere. That's mediocrity. Now picture the other person. They wake up each morning and set their focus. They notice the negative thoughts, but don't feed them. They consciously choose thoughts of possibility, courage, and action. They guide their mind like a conductor guides an orchestra. And over weeks, months, years, those controlled thoughts become result, achievements, magnificence, same talent, same resources, different thinking, different life. This is why success is never an accident. It is always the product of mental discipline. Every world-class performer, every breakthrough thinker, every extraordinary leader has mastered this art, whether they know the term for it or not. They have learned to control their thoughts. And here's the urgent part. If you don't learn this skill, you will remain stuck. Your dreams will stay dreams. Your goals will stay written on paper. Because nothing in your external world can change until your internal world does first. Thought control is the gateway. Without it, you're drifting. With it, you're designing. So ask yourself, do you want to live on repeat, stuck in the loops of yesterday? Or do you want to create breakthroughs? Do you want to keep feeding mediocrity with every unconscious thought? Or do you want to feed magnificence by choosing thoughts that lift you higher? This is the real line in the sand. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not opportunity. It's thought mastery, and it is available to you right now. Your thoughts are the blueprint of your destiny. They can either build a cage or a cathedral. They can keep you small or make you unstoppable. The choice is yours. Stop treating thought control like an option. Treat it like oxygen, because without it, you're suffocating in mediocrity. But with it, you breathe life into magnificence. And once you taste that level of power, focus, and clarity, you will never again settle for less. Your mind is the most powerful operating system on the planet. But here's the problem. Most people are running on outdated software. Think about a computer you bought 10 years ago. Back then, it was fast. It could handle the programs you needed. But now, it's sluggish. It crashes. It can't keep up with modern demands. Not because the hardware is broken, but because the software hasn't been updated. That's your brain. From childhood, your mental operating system has been downloading programs, beliefs, habits, emotional responses, the things your parents said, the way your teachers treated you, the culture you grew up in, the successes that built your confidence, and the failures that chipped away at it. All of it got coded into your subconscious. And unless you've consciously updated those programs, you're still running on them today. Here's how the system works. Your conscious mind, the part that's reading these words right now, is like the front end of the computer. It's logical, analytical, focused, but it's tiny in terms of processing power. It handles about 40 bits of information per second. That sounds impressive until you compare it with the subconscious. Your subconscious mind is the back end, the supercomputer that powers everything, and it processes over 11 million bits of information per second. 11 million. Boom. That means most of what runs your life isn't in your conscious control. It's happening automatically, deep in the background. Think about when you learned to drive. At first, every action was conscious. Adjust the mirror. Hands at 10 and 2. Check the blind spot. Signal. Brake. Your conscious mind was overloaded. But after enough repetition, it dropped into your subconscious. Now you can drive for 20 minutes. Arrive at your destination and hardly remember the trip. That's the subconscious at work. Automatic. Effortless. This automatic programming is helpful for skills like driving or brushing your teeth. But it can also work against you. If you grew up hearing, "You're not good enough," guess what? That program got installed. If you were told, "Money is hard to come by," that code is running too. If you learned early on that love meant abandonment or success meant sacrifice, those patterns are still operating in your subconscious. And because the subconscious processes at lightning speed, those old programs feel like truth. They don't feel like programming. They feel like reality. This is why you can set goals consciously but sabotage them unconsciously. You decide, "I'm going to get healthy." But your subconscious program said, "Comfort food equals safety." And you find yourself eating late at night. You say, "I'm going to be successful." But the subconscious program says, "Success makes people hate you." And you procrastinate. You declare, "I deserve love." But the old coding whispers, "You're not worthy." And you push people away. Your subconscious isn't evil. It's not out to destroy you. It's just running the code it was given, like a computer. It doesn't question whether the program is useful. It just runs it. If the code says, "Fear keeps me safe," then fear will show up every time you step toward growth. If the code says, "I don't deserve abundance," then abundance will always feel out of reach. The good news is this: Neuroplasticity proves the software can be updated. You are not locked into the programs of your past. You can install new ones. But first, you have to see the old ones clearly. You have to understand that much of your current reality is not truth. It's just code. Outdated, buggy code written by people who may not have known what they were doing. Let me give you an example. Imagine a kid who grows up in a house where failure is punished. Every time he makes a mistake, he hears, "What's wrong with you?" His subconscious installs a program, mistakes equal danger. Fast forward 20 years. He's in the workplace. His boss asks him to take on a challenging project. Consciously, he wants to say yes. He knows it will grow his career. But subconsciously, the program screams, danger. Don't risk it. So he hesitates. He avoids it. He misses the opportunity, not because he lacks skill, but because of an outdated program installed decades ago. Now imagine another child. Her parents encourage her. When she fails, they say, "Good try. What did you learn?" Her subconscious installs the program, mistakes equal growth. 20 years later, she faces the same project. Fear shows up for a moment, but the underlying program says, "You've got this. Even if you stumble, you'll grow." She accepts. She learns. She rises. Same challenge, different code, different life. This is why thought control isn't just about managing what you think today. It's about understanding the operating system those thoughts are coming from. If the code is outdated, you'll keep getting the same results no matter how hard you try on the surface. But once you update the software, once you rewrite the subconscious, everything changes. So how do you do that? The first step is awareness. Start noticing your automatic thought. The little phrases that pop into your head without invitation. "I can't. I'm not good enough. It's too hard. I'll never." Those are clues to your programming. The second step is interruption. When the old code runs, you don't just obey it. You pause. You challenge it. You say, "Is this truth or is this just programming?" That single question creates space. And in that space, you have power. Then comes installation. You consciously choose new thoughts, new beliefs, new story, and you repeat them with emotion until they start to take root. Remember, the subconscious learns through repetition and feeling. Just like you learned your ABCs or multiplication tables. Over time, the new program overrides the old one. This is the process of upgrading your mental operating system. And once you start, you'll notice something powerful. Life gets lighter. Things that used to feel impossible start to feel natural. Opportunities that once passed you by suddenly stand out. You're no longer fighting against hidden code. You're aligned with it. The truth is, you are not broken. You're just running outdated software. And just like a computer, you can update it. You can clear out the bugs. You can install programs that support who you want to become, not who you were told to be. But here's the urgency. If you don't take control of your operating system, someone else will. The media, advertisers, social pressure. They're all eager to write code into your subconscious. If you're not consciously updating it, your mind is being programmed by default. So ask yourself, what software is running your life right now? Is it empowering or limiting? Is it helping you grow or keeping you small? You don't have to accept the programs you were given as a child. You don't have to keep running old code that no longer serves you. Your subconscious is powerful. It processes 11 million bits of data per second. It can either run programs that sabotage you or ones that propel you forward. The choice is yours. Update the system. Rewrite the code. Because the life you want isn't blocked by external circumstances. It's blocked by old software. And the moment you take control of your operating system, you unlock the full power of your mind. That's when everything changes. If your mind is an operating system, then it only makes sense that you need to run audits. Think about it. Businesses audit their finances. Athletes audit their training. Even your phone runs updates to check for bugs. But when was the last time you audited your own thoughts? Most people never do. They just let the same old mental programs run in the background, unchecked, day after day, year after year, and then they wonder why nothing changes. Here's the truth. If you want transformation, you must first create awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to see. And that starts with observing the recurring thought patterns that are driving your life. Start with this simple exercise. Pick one day and decide you're going to become the watcher of your mind, not the judge, not the fighter. The watcher. From the moment you wake up, start noticing what pops into your head. When you look in the mirror, what's the first thought? Is it critical, encouraging, neutral? When you open your inbox, what thoughts arise? Stress, overwhelm, excitement. When you think about your goals, what's the mental commentary? I can do this. Or who am I kidding? This is auditing. You are identifying the programs that run automatically without your permission. And trust me, you will see patterns. Certain triggers will call up the same predictable thoughts every time. A challenge arrives, and the program called "I can't handle this" boots up. A compliment comes, and the program called "I'm not really good enough" sneaks in. An opportunity shows up, and the program called "What if I fail" takes over. Most people mistake these automatic thoughts for truth. They don't even question them. But the moment you observe them, you see them for what they really are. Program, old code, just data running through your system. And that shift from identification to observation is the first step to freedom. Think of it like reviewing your bank statements. You see money flowing in, money flowing out. Some of it makes sense. Some of it shocks you. Wait, I'm still paying for that subscription I don't even use. Your thoughts are the same. You'll realize, wait, I've been running the program of self-doubt for years and I didn't even notice. I've been spending energy on worry like it's a bill I have to pay. Once you see it, you have a choice. You can cancel it. You can redirect it. Let's make this practical. Carry a small notebook or use the Notes app on your phone. For 1 week, commit to writing down recurring thoughts. Not every thought. That's impossible. But the big ones, the sticky ones, the ones that keep showing up like spam emails. Label them: fear of failure, fear of judgment, not good enough. This is your audit report. Now here's where it gets powerful. Once you've tracked them for a week, sit down and review. You'll notice themes. Maybe 80% of your recurring thoughts fall into 3 categories. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of not being enough. That's not coincidence. That's your operating system revealing its core code. And when you see the code, you can rewrite it. Psychologists call this metacognition, thinking about your thinking. And it is one of the most important skills you can ever develop. Because the moment you step back and say, ah, that's just my worry program running again, you create distance. And in that distance, you find power. Remember, awareness does not mean judgment. Too many people start this process and immediately beat themselves up. I can't believe I'm so negative. I can't believe I still think this way. That's just another program. Criticism disguised as self-awareness. Don't fall for it. Your job is not to judge the thought. Your job is to notice it, record it, and move on. Think of yourself as a scientist. Scientists don't scream at the data. They collect it. They observe it. They look for patterns. Do the same with your thoughts, with curiosity, not condemnation. And here's the best part. The moment you begin auditing, you've already started changing, because observation alone weakens the program's grip. Imagine shining a flashlight into a dark room. The monsters that seem terrifying shrink under the light. Your recurring thoughts are the same. The moment you bring them into awareness, they lose some of their power. But don't stop there. Use your audit as a guide. Each recurring thought is like a line of outdated code. Once you identify it, you can ask, where did this come from? Who wrote this program? Do I even believe this anymore? Often, you'll realize it was written decades ago by parents, teachers, society, or past experiences. It may have served you once, but it doesn't serve you now. That realization alone is liberating. Here's an example. Let's say you grew up in a household where money was always scarce. You heard, "We can't afford that. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich people are greedy." Those phrases became code. As an adult, you catch yourself thinking, "I'll never have enough. Making money is too hard." Without an audit, you'd accept that as reality. But once you spot it, you can challenge it. You can decide to install a new program. I can create wealth. Money is a tool I can learn to manage. Another example, maybe you notice every time you think about your body, the automatic program is critical. I'm too fat, too thin, too old, not attractive enough. That's old code, probably written by culture and comparison. Once you see it, you can replace it. My body is strong. My body is healing. My body deserves care. The audit is not about positive thinking plastered on top of negativity. It's about awareness. Awareness creates choice. Choice creates change. And here's why this matters. Without an audit, your mind will keep spending its energy on programs that drain you. Just like a phone running 10 apps in the background. You'll feel exhausted and not know why. But once you close the apps, once you update the system, suddenly you have more energy, more clarity, more power. So I challenge you, run the audit. For 1 week, watch your thoughts, record them, label them, then step back and look at the pattern. Don't judge, just see. And remember this, the first step to transformation is always awareness. Because you cannot change a program you cannot see, but the moment you shine the light of observation on it, you're no longer a slave to it. You are the programmer, the operator, the one who decides what stays and what goes. Audit your mind. Rewrite the code. That's how you turn unconscious limitation into conscious liberation. And it all starts with awareness. Your brain is a computer. And like any computer, it runs on software. Some of that software is up to date, clean, efficient. But let's be honest, most of it is outdated, buggy, and slowing you down. Programs written years ago by parents, teacher, culture, or past experiences. Old codes that once had a purpose but now hold you back. Reprogramming the mind means updating that software, not with patches, not with temporary fixes, with full rewrites. You don't just delete the old code and hope for the best. You replace it with something stronger, something more empowering, something that supports who you are becoming instead of keeping you stuck in who you were. Think about it like your phone. You wouldn't keep using an operating system from 10 years ago and expect it to run the apps of today. You'd update, you'd install the latest version. Why? Because the new version is faster, smarter, more aligned with what you need right now. Your brain deserves the same. So how do you reprogram? Two things matter most: repetition and emotion. Let's break it down. Repetition first. Your brain learns through patterns. Every time you repeat a thought, you strengthen the neural pathway behind it. It's like walking a trail in the woods. Walk it once and it's faint. Walk it every day and it becomes clear. Keep walking and it turns into a road, then a highway. That's how habits of thought are born. The subconscious doesn't care whether the thought is good or bad, helpful or destructive. It just builds highways from whatever you repeat. That's why self-doubt feels automatic. You've practiced it. That's why fear shows up so easily. You've rehearsed it. But the same rule that created those patterns can create new ones. If you deliberately choose new thoughts and repeat them often enough, your brain will carve new highways. At first it feels fake, like forcing yourself down an unmarked trail. But consistency makes it real. Repetition makes it natural. Now let's add the second ingredient, emotion. Repetition lays down the track. Emotion lays down the power line. When a thought carries strong feeling, It burns deeper into your brain. That's why some childhood memories are vivid decades later. They carried emotional intensity. And that's why affirmations without feeling don't work. Saying I am confident in a flat, empty voice won't rewire anything. But saying it while standing tall, breathing deep, remembering moments when you actually felt strong, that's when the brain starts to believe. This is why visualization is so effective. When you vividly imagine success and feel the emotions of it in your body, your brain treats it like a real experience. The neurons fire as if it's happening. You are literally rehearsing new programming before it shows up in your life. Let's make this real with an example. Imagine someone grew up hearing, money is the root of all evil. That code got installed early. Now as an adult, every time they earn more, they feel guilt. They sabotage opportunities. They stay stuck at a level beneath their potential. That's old software running. To reprogram, they have to install a new belief. Something like, money is a tool. The more I have, the more good I can do. That becomes the new code. But it won't stick if they just say it once. They must repeat it daily. They must feel it in their bones. They must imagine using money to create positive impact. With time, the old program weakens and the new one takes over. Or take another example. A person constantly thinks, I'm not lovable. Maybe it came from rejection, maybe from neglect, maybe from comparison. That program shapes every relationship. They cling, they push people away. They never feel secure. To reprogram, the new code must be something like, I am worthy of love exactly as I am. And it has to be repeated with emotion. Said in the mirror, felt in the heart, reinforced by remembering real moments of connection. However small, with practice, the brain starts to accept it, and relationships transform because the operating system behind them is different. Here's the urgency. If you don't consciously reprogram, the old code will keep running. Your subconscious doesn't erase itself. It loops the same thoughts until you intervene. That's why awareness alone isn't enough. Awareness shows you the program, but reprogramming replaces it. And replacement is where transformation happens. Practical step. Step 1. Identify the outdated program. Use your audit. Notice the thought loops that hold you back. Name them clearly. Fear of failure. I'm not enough. Success is dangerous. Step 2. Write the new program. Craft a belief that directly counters the old one. Make it short. Make it powerful. Make it aligned with the life you want. Step 3. Repeat it daily, morning and night, out loud if possible, with full attention. Step 4. Add emotion. Don't just say it, feel it, visualize it. Remember times that support it. Embody it in your posture and tone. Step 5. Reinforce with action. Thoughts become real faster when backed by behavior. If your new program is, I am confident, then take small daily actions that prove it. Speak up, stand tall, celebrate wins. Action tells your brain, this is real, and here's the truth. It won't feel natural at first. It will feel forced, awkward, fake. That's normal. It's just your brain adjusting to the new code. But keep going, because one day, you'll catch yourself living the new program without even trying. That's the moment you'll realize it worked. Reprogramming isn't about pretending life is perfect. It's about building software that serves you instead of sabotaging you. It's about choosing beliefs that lift you higher instead of locking you down. So let me ask you, what outdated program are you still running, whose voice is still echoing in your mind? What belief did you inherit that no longer belongs to you? Because until you replace it, it will keep running your life. You are not broken. You are not doomed. You are programmable. And that is the most empowering truth you'll ever learn. Update the code. Repeat it daily. Feel it deeply. Live it consistently. That's how you reprogram your mind. That's how you step out of old limitations and into new possibilities. Because in the end, your brain is always running something. The only question is, will it run the old program of fear or the new program of freedom? The choice is yours, and the time to choose is now. Reality is not what you think it is. Reality is what you notice. And what you notice is shaped by your thoughts. Right now, in this very moment, your brain is being bombarded with millions of bits of information, sounds, sight, smell, sensations. But here's the thing, you can't process all of it. You'd go insane. So your brain has a filter. It's called the reticular activating system, or RAS for short. Think of your RAS as the search engine of your mind. It decides what gets through and what gets ignored. It takes the thoughts you repeat most often and uses them as search criteria. Then it highlights anything in the world that matches those thoughts while filtering out almost everything else. That's why when you start thinking about buying a red car, suddenly you see red cars everywhere. They were always there, but your RAS wasn't tuned to them. Now it is. Your brain highlights them as relevant. That's not magic. That's neuroscience. Here's where it gets life-changing. If your dominant thoughts are about problems, your RAS will keep scanning for problem. If your thoughts are about fear, your RAS will highlight danger everywhere. But if your thoughts are about opportunity, your RAS will filter the world for possibility. Two people can look at the exact same event and live in completely different realities because their filters are tuned differently. Picture this. Two people walk into the same networking event. One has been running the thought, nobody likes me. I don't belong. Their RAS highlights every cold glance, every conversation they were not part of, every awkward silence. They walk out feeling rejected, just as they expected. Now the other person walks in with the thought, this is a room full of potential allies. Their RAS highlights smiles, open body language, opportunities to connect. They walk out with new contacts, new energy, and new possibilities. Same room, different realities. Or think about failure. Two people both lose their job. One is running the program. This is the end. I'll never recover. Their RAS shows them evidence of scarcity. Every article about unemployment, every story of someone struggling, they spiral downward. The other person is running the thought, this is my chance to reinvent myself. Their RAS highlights job postings, new business ideas, conversations that spark creativity. They bounce back stronger. Same event, different realities. Your RAS is not biased toward truth. It's biased toward consistency. It doesn't ask, is this thought empowering? It only asks, is this thought familiar? And then it finds evidence to confirm it. That's why limiting beliefs feel so real, because your brain keeps showing you proof. You think, I'm not enough, and your RAS highlights every time you mess up while ignoring every time you succeed. You think, opportunities never come my way, and your RAS blocks out the ones that are literally in front of you. This is why thought control is so critical. You are literally programming your filter, and whatever you program it with becomes your reality. Here's a metaphor. Imagine putting on glasses with blue-tinted lenses. Suddenly, the whole world looks blue. You wouldn't say the world is blue. You'd understand it's the glasses. Your RAS is those glasses. It colors everything you see with the tint of your dominant thoughts. So how do you shift it? You change the input. You feed your mind the thoughts you want your RAS to prioritize. You repeat them. You add emotion. You rehearse them daily. And slowly, the filter begins to shift. For example, if you're constantly thinking, I never have enough time, your RAS will highlight every moment you're busy, rushed, overwhelmed. It will blind you to moments of calm or efficiency. But if you train your mind to think, I make time for what matters, your RAS will start to show you ways to prioritize. Small gaps you can use, opportunities to delegate, same schedule, different reality. Another example, someone with the thought, people can't be trusted, will see betrayal everywhere. They'll interpret neutral actions as threats. They'll notice dishonesty but miss loyalty. Meanwhile, someone with the thought, There are trustworthy people in my life. We'll notice acts of kindness, loyalty, integrity. Same world, different reality. The urgency here is simple. If you don't program your RS, the world will program it for you. Media, gossip, social conditioning. If you don't consciously choose what thoughts to feed your filter, you'll end up stuck in a reality shaped by fear, scarcity, and limitation. But when you take control, you can shape your experience. You can literally decide what kind of reality you want to notice. Want more opportunities? Start thinking in terms of opportunity. Want more confidence? Start repeating thoughts of capability. Want more love? Start focusing on connection instead of rejection. This isn't about pretending bad things don't exist. Of course, challenges, setbacks, and negativity are real. But your RAS determines whether you fixate on them or see beyond them, whether you get trapped in the obstacle or spot the hidden door. And here's the kicker. Once your RAS shifts, your actions follow, because what you notice determines how you feel, and how you feel determines what you do. You see obstacles everywhere. You feel defeated. You take no action. You see opportunities everywhere. You feel energized. You take bold action. Over time, those choices create radically different lives. Your thoughts are not just private whispers in your head. They are instructions to your brain's filter. They are coding your perception. They are sculpting your reality. So ask yourself, what instructions are you giving your RAS right now? Are you programming it for lack or abundance? For fear or courage? For mediocrity or magnificence? Because in the end, reality is not fixed. It's filtered. And the filter is yours to control. Two people, same event, two different worlds. Which one you live in depends on the thoughts you choose to repeat. The lesson is simple but powerful. Control your thoughts, and you control your filter. Control your filter, and you control your reality. And once you control your reality, you control your destiny. Everything in your life begins with a single spark. That spark is a thought. A single thought may seem small, harmless, fleeting, but that thought does not disappear. It creates a ripple. First, it shapes how you feel. Then, it directs what you do. And finally, it determines what results you get. Thought, emotion, action, result. That is the cycle. And whether you are aware of it or not, it is running your entire life. Let's walk through it. You think, I'm not good enough. Simple sentence. But the moment that thought takes hold, it generates an emotion. Maybe insecurity, maybe fear, maybe shame. And that emotion doesn't just stay in your head. It changes your body. Shoulders slump, voice soften, energy drop. Now you feel weak. And because you feel weak, you act small. You avoid speaking up in the meeting. You hesitate when opportunity comes. You settle when you know you could stretch. Those actions create results that confirm the original thought. You miss out. You stay invisible. And your brain says, see, I told you, you're not good enough. That is the self-fulfilling prophecy. But flip the script. You think, I can learn and improve. That thought creates a completely different emotional state. You feel open, curious, hopeful. Your body reflects it. Shoulders back, energy alive. That emotion drives action. You take the risk. You raise your hand. You try something new. And because you act, you create results. Maybe you succeed. Maybe you stumble but learn. Either way, your brain says, see, growth is possible. That reinforces the thought, which fuels the next action, which creates better results. A new prophecy fulfilled. This is the hidden engine of your reality. Every time you think a thought, you're starting the cycle. And once it begins, it gathers momentum like a snowball rolling downhill. The thought becomes emotion. The emotion drives action. The action shapes reality. Let's make it vivid. Picture a student walking into an exam. If their thought is, I always choke under pressure, anxiety rises, hands sweat, mind races. They second-guess answers they actually know. Their action, hesitation, mistake. Panic leads to a poor grade. The grade confirms the thought, cycle complete. But another student walks in thinking, I've prepared well, I can handle this. That thought sparks calm confidence. Heartbeat steady. Focus sharpens. They act with clarity. They perform better. The result reinforces the belief. Two students, same tests, same material, different thoughts, different lives. Or consider relationships. One person think, I'm unlovable. That thought creates sadness and fear of rejection. The emotion drives action. They hold back. They don't express love fully. They push people away without realizing it. The result? Distance, breakdowns. The brain said, see, you are unlovable. But someone else thinks, I bring value to relationships. That thought creates warmth, confidence, and openness. The emotion drives action. They show up fully. They connect deeply. They forgive quickly. The result? Stronger bonds, more love. The brain said, see, you are worthy. Same world, different thought, different outcome. The cycle explains why people get stuck. They keep feeding the same thought. It triggers the same emotion. That emotion drives the same action. The action creates the same result. The results reinforce the same thought. Round and round, it goes like a hamster on a wheel. And they wonder why life never changes. Here's the urgent truth. If you want different results, you cannot wait for life to hand them to you. You must intervene at the very beginning of the cycle, at the level of thought, because once the thought changes, everything downstream changes too. That doesn't mean you never feel fear or doubt. Fearful thoughts will come. Doubtful thoughts will arise. The key is not letting them run the show. The moment you notice them, you have a choice. You can feed them, let them spiral into emotion and action, or you can redirect them, replace them, upgrade them. Think of thoughts as seed. Each one you plant grows into an emotional tree. That tree produces actions like branches and results like fruit. Plant a seed of doubt. You grow a tree of hesitation, and the fruit is missed opportunity. Plant a seed of courage. You grow a tree of confidence, and the fruit is achievement. You can't plant poison and expect roses. You can't plant fear and expect freedom. The fruit always matches the seed. Now, let's get practical. Start tracking your thought, emotion, action cycle. Notice the link. When you feel anxious, trace it back. What thought triggered it? When you avoid action, trace it back. What emotion drove that hesitation? When you get poor results, trace it back. What action led there? And what thought started it all? Awareness is step one. Step two is intervention. The moment you catch the thought, pause. Ask, is this thought serving me or sabotaging me? If it's sabotage, shift it. Replace, I'm not ready with, I'm learning as I go. Replace, I always fail with, I'm closer every time. Replace, I don't belong with, I bring value. The replacement doesn't have to be fake or fluffy. It just has to point you toward growth instead of paralysis. Step three is reinforcement. Pair the new thought with emotion. Say it out loud with conviction. Stand tall when you think of it. Recall a memory that supports it. The emotion gives the thought weight. It roots it deeper. Step four is action. Take one small step aligned with the new thought. Action is the proof your brain craves. If the thought is, I am confident, then speak up once. If the thought is, I can grow, then try something new. Every action plants evidence, and evidence reinforces the thought. That's how you flip the cycle in your favor. Remember, the cycle is neutral. It doesn't care if it creates success or failure. It just follows the input. Garbage in, garbage out, power in, power out. That's why mastering your thoughts is non-negotiable. It's not about controlling every fleeting idea. It's about choosing which ones get the spotlight, because those are the ones that will shape your emotions, actions, and life. So ask yourself right now, what cycle are you running? Is it insecurity to hesitation to missed opportunity? Or is it growth to courage to new result? The difference is not fate. It's not luck. It's the thought you choose at the beginning of the loop. Change the thought, and you change the feeling. Change the feeling, and you change the action. Change the action, and you change the result. That's the formula. That's the cycle. That's the power sitting in your mind right now, waiting for you to use it. So don't let another day slip by on autopilot. Interrupt the cycle. Plant new seeds. Create new fruit. Because your life is not shaped by chance. It is shaped by the thoughts you choose to repeat, the emotions they create, and the actions that follow. And the moment you master this cycle, you stop being a victim of your own mind and start being the architect of your destiny. Your mind is a garden. Every single thought you think is a seed. Some seeds grow into flowers. Others grow into weeds. And here's the truth most people miss. The soil of your mind does not care what you plant. It will grow whatever seed you drop into it. Positive, negative, helpful, destructive. The soil makes no judgment. It just produces a harvest. If you plant seeds of doubt, you will harvest hesitation. If you plant seeds of fear, you will harvest avoidance. If you plant seeds of gratitude, you will harvest joy. If you plant seeds of courage, you will harvest growth. Every harvest you are living right now is the direct result of the seeds you planted yesterday, last week, last year, maybe even decades ago. This is not philosophy. This is psychology in action. Thoughts repeated become beliefs. Beliefs become emotions. Emotions drive actions, and actions shape results. That's the harvest, and it all starts with the seed. The tragedy is that most people never choose what to plant. They let the wind decide. Seeds of criticism from parents, seeds of limitation from teachers, seeds of fear from society, seeds of comparison from social media. They let everyone else throw seeds into their garden, then act surprised when the harvest looks nothing like the life they wanted. Imagine a farmer who lets random strangers toss anything into his field. Rock, weeds, poison. Would he be shocked when nothing good grows? Of course not. But that's what many of us do with our minds. We don't guard the soil. We don't choose the seed. And we wonder why we feel stuck, unhappy, or unfulfilled. Here's the good news. You are not stuck with the harvest you have today. You can uproot weeds. You can plant new seeds. You can transform your entire mental landscape, but it requires conscious gardening. Step 1, awareness. Start noticing what you're planting. Every time you think a thought, pause and ask, do I want more of this in my life? If the answer is no, don't water it. Don't give it attention. Don't let it take root. Step 2, uprooting. Weeds don't go away on their own. You must actively pull them out. That means challenging limiting belief, questioning negative self-talk. When you catch yourself thinking, I can't, stop and dig deeper. Who told me that? Is it actually true? Do I want to keep living this belief? Uprooting is messy. It takes effort. But every weed you pull makes space for something better to grow. Step 3, planting. Decide what you want to harvest and plant seeds that match. Want confidence? Plant thoughts of courage. Want abundance? Plant thoughts of opportunity. Want love? Plant thoughts of connection and worthiness. Then repeat them. Nourish them. Water them with attention and emotion. Step 4, consistency. A garden doesn't transform overnight. Seeds take time. At first, it looks like nothing has happened. But beneath the soil, roots are forming. Shoots are pushing upwards. With patience and care, the harvest always comes. Think about this. A single negative thought, repeated daily, is like planting weeds every morning. Eventually, they choke the life out of everything else. But a single empowering thought, repeated daily, is like planting flowers that spread beauty across the whole garden. You get to choose which landscape you live in. Let's make it real. Imagine two people. Both wake up late. One plants the seed. I'm such an idiot. I always screw things up. That seed grows into frustration, low energy, careless choices, a day that feels wasted. The other person plants the seed. It's a rough start, but I can turn this around. That seed grows into resilience, small wins, momentum, and by the end of the day, they've created progress. Same event, different seed, different harvest. Or think about relationships. Plant the seed. People always disappoint me. And your brain will notice every flaw, every letdown, every betrayal. That harvest is loneliness and bitterness. Plant the seed. There are people who care and support me. And your brain will notice kindness, loyalty, connection. That harvest is love and trust. The principle is simple. The garden grows what you plant, not what you wish, not what you hope, what you plant. And here's the urgency. Seeds multiply. One negative thought doesn't just stay one. It branches into more. It attracts others. Before you know it, your mental garden is overrun. But the same is true for positive seeds. One thought of gratitude can spiral into appreciation, optimism, and joy. One thought of courage can lead to action, growth, and breakthrough. So you must become ruthless about what you allow into your soil. Guard your garden. Pay attention to the media you consume, the conversations you entertain, the beliefs you accept. Every input is a seed. Ask yourself, do I want this seed in my garden? If not, don't let it in. And don't forget the power of replanting. Every time you catch yourself feeding a weed, you can stop, uproot it, and plant a better seed in its place. Replace, I can't do this with, I'm learning as I go. Replace, nobody cares with, I attract the right people. Replace, I always fail with, every step moves me forward. Over time, the new seeds grow stronger than the old weeds. Your mind is fertile ground. It will grow whatever you give it. The question is, are you planting weeds or flowers? Poison or fruit? Limitation or possibility? The harvest you are living right now is proof of the seeds you planted in the past. And the harvest you will live tomorrow depends on the seeds you plant today. So choose wisely. Guard the soil. Pull the weeds. Plant with intention. Water with repetition and emotion. Because when you master the garden of your mind, you stop living by default and start living by design. Every thought is a seed. Every seed creates a harvest. And that harvest becomes your life. The choice is yours. The time to plan is now. Let me hit you with a fact that should shake you awake. Research shows that around 90% of the thoughts you think today are the same ones you thought yesterday. And the day before, and the day before that. You're not waking up to a brand new stream of thinking every morning. You're recycling. You're replaying the same old mental loops like a broken record. And then you wonder why life feels stuck, why nothing seems to change. Here's the problem. These recycled thoughts don't just pass through your head harmlessly. They create your emotions. They drive your actions. They shape your results. And if 90% of them are on repeat, then 90% of your results will be on repeat too. No growth, no breakthrough, just the same cycle dressed up in different days. Most of these automatic thought patterns fall into a handful of categories. The first is worried. These are the what-if thoughts that project disaster into the future. What if I fail? What if they leave me? What if I lose everything? Worry tricks you into thinking you're preparing. But really, it's just draining your energy for problems that haven't even happened. The second is judgment. Thoughts that put you or others under a microscope. I'm not smart enough. She's too arrogant. He'll never change. Judgment thoughts create separation. They shrink your compassion and feed your insecurity. The third is comparison. You know this one. Why am I not as successful as them? Why don't I look like that? Why can't I have what they have? Comparison thoughts make you blind to your own progress. They poison your gratitude. They lock you in a game you can never win. The fourth is victim thinking. Life is unfair. I can't catch a break. Everything is against me. These thoughts protect your ego from blame, but they also strip you of power. If you're always the victim, you're never the creator. And then there are limitation thoughts. I can't. I'm not ready. It's too hard. I'll never. These thoughts feel like truth because they've been repeated so long. But really, they're just old programs masquerading as facts. Here's the danger. Automatic thoughts run so quickly, so smoothly, that you don't even notice them. They slide under the radar. They feel like background noise, but they are actually the soundtrack running your entire life. So how do you break free? The answer is metacognition. Thinking about your thinking. It sounds simple, but it's revolutionary. Because the moment you step back and observe your thoughts instead of drowning in them, everything changes. Imagine sitting on the side of a highway, watching cars pass by. Each car is a thought. If you're in the middle of traffic, it feels chaotic. Cars rushing from all directions. No control. But if you step back and watch from the side, you see the flow. You see the patterns. You realize you don't have to chase every car. You can just observe. That's metacognition. Let me make this practical. Set alarms on your phone at random times during the day. When it goes off, pause and ask yourself, what am I thinking right now? Don't judge it. Don't try to change it. Just notice. Maybe you're worrying. Maybe you're criticizing. Maybe you're reliving a conversation. Write it down. That's awareness. Over time, you'll start seeing the categories. You'll notice that certain situations trigger the same automatic patterns again and again. Stress at work triggers worry. Scrolling social media triggers comparison. Criticism triggers victim thinking. These are your loops. And once you see the loop, you can break it. Here's the key. You cannot fight automatic thoughts head on. If you try to suppress them, you fall into the pink elephant trap, thinking about them even more. The goal is not suppression. The goal is observation and redirection. Observation creates distance. You realize, this is not me. This is just a thought, a program, a car passing on the highway. Redirection creates power. You choose where to place your focus instead. Instead of worry, you choose preparation. Instead of judgment, you choose curiosity. Instead of comparison, you choose gratitude. Instead of victim thinking, you choose responsibility. Instead of limitation, you choose possibility. And here's what makes it urgent. If you don't break these patterns, they will calcify. The grooves in your brain get deeper with every repetition. Neuroscience calls this Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you run the same automatic thought, you strengthen the pathway. That's why it feels so real, so automatic, so unshakable. But the moment you interrupt the loop with awareness, you weaken the pathway. Every time you redirect, you're building a new one. Think of your brain like a field of grass. Every automatic thought is a path you've walked over and over until it's beaten down into dirt. Easy to follow. But every time you step off that path and choose a new one, you start carving another trail. At first, it's awkward. The grass is high. It feels unnatural. But with practice, the new path becomes easier, smoother, more natural, and the old path starts to grow over. That's reprogramming in real time. So here's the challenge. Don't let 90% of your life be run on autopilot. Don't let yesterday's thoughts dictate today's results. Become the observer. Catch the categories. Practice metacognition. Interrupt the loop. Redirect with intention. Because once you see the pattern, you no longer have to be trapped in it. You can break it. You can rewrite it. You can create something new. The truth is, you are not your recycled thoughts. You are the thinker. You are the one with the power to step off the wheel and design a new cycle. The moment you practice metacognition, you stop being a prisoner of yesterday's thoughts and start becoming the architect of tomorrow's reality. So pay attention, watch your mind, notice the loops, and then break them with awareness and choice. Because the difference between a life on repeat and a life of growth is whether you let your thoughts run you or whether you learn to run them. Here's the truth most people never realize. You cannot stop thoughts from arising. They will come, random, wild, unexpected, triggered by memories, sight, sound, or nothing at all. That's the nature of the mind. Thoughts arise automatically. But here's where your power lies. You don't have to entertain every thought that knocks at your door. You decide which ones get invited in, fed, and given a bed for the night. Think of it this way. A thought arising is like a stranger ringing your doorbell. That part is automatic. But entertaining a thought is like opening the door, inviting the stranger in, offering them dinner, and letting them stay. The bell is not your choice. The invitation is, and that difference is everything. Here's the science. Neuroscientists tell us that when a thought first arises, it only has about a 90-second lifespan if you don't feed it. That means you have a window, a gap, a choice point. If you notice the thought and let it pass, it fades on its own. But if you grab it, replay it, fuel it with emotion, it sticks, it grows, it becomes part of your mental landscape. This is the 90-second rule of attention. And if you learn to use it, you can reclaim control over your mind. Imagine a negative thought arises. I'm going to fail. If you let it go, within 90 seconds it dissolves. Gone. But if you pick it up and turn it over, what if I really do fail? What will people think? How will I recover? Suddenly you've given it fuel. Now it's not just a thought. It's an emotion, anxiety. And once it's emotion, it becomes action, hesitation, avoidance, self-sabotage. The key is developing thought discrimination, the ability to ask, does this thought serve me or sabotage me? That's your mental filter. That's your power. Start practicing in simple ways. A thought arises. I'm not ready. Pause. Ask, does this thought serve me? If the answer is no, let it pass. Don't fight it. Don't argue with it. Just refuse to water it. Then redirect your focus to something that does serve you. Maybe the thought, I can learn as I go, or I've handled challenges before. I can handle this too. That becomes the seed you water. That becomes the thought you entertain. This isn't about forcing yourself to only think positive thoughts. That's not real. Negative thoughts will arrive. Doubt will not. Fear will ring the bell. The point is, you don't have to host them. You don't have to build them a room in your house. You can observe them, thank them, and let them walk away. Here's a metaphor. Imagine your mind as a garden. Seeds are constantly blowing in with the wind. Some are flowers. Some are weeds. You can't stop the seeds from arriving, but you can decide which ones to water. If you water the flowers, the garden blooms. If you water the weeds, they overrun everything. Thought discrimination is choosing what you water. Another example, think about scrolling social media. You can't control what shows up in your feed. Some posts are inspiring. Others are toxic. But you can control what you click, what you linger on, what you allow to shape your mood. Your thoughts work the same way. You can't control every thought that pops up, but you can control which ones you give attention to. And attention is everything. Where attention goes, energy flows. That's why some people spiral down and others rise up. Not because they never have negative thoughts, but because they refuse to entertain them. They practice mental discipline. They choose thoughts that lift them, not drain them. Let's make it practical. Create criteria for your thoughts. A checklist. Does this thought move me toward my goals or away from them? Does it increase my energy or drain it? Does it expand my possibilities or contract them? Does it align with who I want to be? or keep me stuck in who I was. If the thought fails the test, let it go. If it passes, engage with it. Expand it. Fuel it with emotion and action. The most successful people are ruthless about this. They treat their mind like prime real estate. Not every thought gets to live there. Only the ones that pay rent in clarity, courage, and progress. And here's the urgency. Every thought you entertain strengthens a pathway in your brain. You are literally wiring your mind in real time. Entertain worry, and you strengthen the worry circuit. Entertain courage, and you strengthen the courage circuit. You are always training your brain. The only question is, what are you training it for? This is conscious thought selection. The practice of choosing deliberately which thoughts get your energy and which ones you starve. It's a skill. At first, you'll miss the window. You'll catch the thought after it's already spiraled into emotion. That's okay. With practice, you'll notice sooner, then sooner, until you catch it right at the doorbell, in that 90-second window, and choose with clarity. So here's your challenge. For the next 24 hours, practice thought discrimination. Every time you notice a thought, ask, does this serve me? If yeah, feed it. If no, let it pass. Do this for a day, and you'll feel lighter. Do it for a week, and you'll feel stronger. Do it for a month, and you'll feel transformed. Remember, thoughts will always arise. You can't stop the wind from blowing seeds into your garden. But you can decide what you water. You can't stop the doorbell from ringing. But you can decide who you invite in. And you can't stop the feed from scrolling. But you can decide what you click. Your power is not in stopping thoughts. Your power is in choosing them. That choice, repeated daily, is what separates a mind that drifts from a mind that creates. A life of mediocrity from a life of magnificence. So stop entertaining thoughts that sabotage you. Start selecting thoughts that serve you. And watch how quickly your life begins to change. There's a voice in your head that never shuts up. It comments on everything. It critiques, predicts, compares, judges. Sometimes it cheers you on. More often, it tears you down. And here's the crucial truth. That voice is not you. It feels like you. It sounds like you. But it's not your identity. It's a program, a pattern, an echo of the voices you heard growing up, the culture you absorbed, the experiences you repeated. You inherited it. You rehearsed it. And now it runs on autopilot. Most people never question this inner voice. They think, if I'm saying it in my head, it must be true. Wrong. Just because the voice is loud doesn't mean it's accurate. Just because it feels familiar doesn't mean it's healthy. Think of your inner voice like a radio station. You've been tuned to the same channel for years, maybe decades. And if that station only plays criticism, fear, and self-doubt, then of course you walk around feeling small. But here's the good news. You can change the station. You can rewrite the script. Step one is awareness. Start listening to how your inner voice talks to you. Notice the tone. Is it harsh or kind? Notice the timing. Does it get louder when you're about to try something new? Notice the language. Does it use absolutes like always and never? Does it call you names? Does it shrink your possibilities? The more you observe, the more you'll see the patterns. And once you see them, you can start to change them. Let me make this concrete. Imagine you spill coffee on yourself before a meeting. If your inner voice says, I'm such an idiot. I always mess things up. That's a harsh critic at work. If your inner voice says, okay, small mistake, no big deal. Let's clean it up. That's a supportive coach. Same event, different dialogue, different emotional impact. The tone matters. If your inner voice speaks to you with contempt, you'll feel small. If it speaks to you with compassion, you'll feel strong. You would never call your best friend worthless for making a mistake. So why allow your inner voice to treat you worse than you treat a stranger? This is where voice modification comes in. You can deliberately change the way your inner voice sounds. Try it. When your critic pipes up, imagine it speaking in a silly cartoon voice. Suddenly it loses power. Or flip it. Imagine your inner voice speaking with the tone of a mentor you respect, or a coach who believes in you. This simple shift changes how the message lands. Then there's reframing. Most inner dialogue is automatic interpretation, not fact. I failed, therefore I'm a failure. That's interpretation. Reframe it. I failed, therefore I learned something I can improve. Same event, new meaning. And meaning changes everything. You can also transform statements into better questions. Instead of, I'll never figure this out, ask, what's one small step I can take to start figuring this out? Instead of, I'm terrible at this, ask, what skills could I practice to improve at this? Questions engage your problem-solving brain. They move you from stuck to resourceful. Another technique is scripting. Pre-write empowering lines of inner dialogue for moments. Trigger your critic. Before a big presentation, have a script ready. I'm prepared. I know my material. I've got this. Before a setback, have a script. This is tough, but I'm tougher. I'll find a way through. By rehearsing these lines, you train your inner voice to respond differently. Self-compassion is not fluff. It's fuel. When your inner voice speaks with kindness, you build resilience. You create emotional safety that allows you to take risks, recover from mistakes, and keep moving. People think self-compassion makes you weak. Wrong. It makes you unstoppable. Because when your inner voice is on your side, you don't waste energy battling yourself. Think about how children learn. When a kid is learning to walk and they fall, no one says, you're useless. You'll never walk. They cheer. They encourage. Get up. Try again. You can do it. That's how growth happens. Your inner voice should be that cheerleader, not a bully. Here's the urgency. Your inner dialogue runs constantly. If you let it stay negative, that negativity compounds. Day after day, year after year, it eats away at confidence, dreams, potential. But if you master it, if you shape it intentionally, it becomes the most powerful ally you will ever have. Imagine carrying a supportive coach in your head. 47. Someone who challenges you, encourages you, reminds you of your strength. That's the power you can unlock. Start today. Catch your inner dialogue in action. Modify the voice. Reframe the meaning. Ask better questions. Script empowering responses. And practice self-compassion like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. You are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. And that means you have the power to change it. Master your internal dialogue. And you master your emotions. Master your emotions. And you master your actions. Master your actions. And you master your life. The critic has been running the show long enough. It's time to hand the microphone to a new voice. One that believes in you. One that challenges you. One that lifts you higher. That voice is already inside you, waiting to be activated. The question is, will you let it speak? We've all been there. One small trigger sets you off, and suddenly your whole day feels like it's spiraling out of control. It starts with a single thought. Maybe someone criticizes you. Maybe you make a mistake. Maybe you remember something painful. That thought sparks an emotion, anxiety, shame, anger, and then the cascade begins. The emotion feeds new thoughts. The new thoughts fuel stronger emotions. Before you know it, you're caught in a negative spiral, spinning faster and faster, sinking deeper and deeper. Here's the anatomy of a spiral. Trigger, emotion, cascade. A colleague gives you a sideways look. Trigger, your mind interprets it as disapproval. Emotion, you feel insecure. That insecurity calls up memories of past rejection. Cascade, soon you're telling yourself stories about being unworthy, incompetent, destined to fail. None of this is fact. It's just a runaway train your mind jumped on. The danger of spirals is speed. They escalate quickly. What starts as a single spark can turn into a wildfire in minutes. And when you're in the middle of it, it feels impossible to stop. But you can stop it. You can interrupt it. You can turn spirals into stepping stones. The first tool is the circuit breaker. A spiral gathers energy like a storm. To stop it, you need to cut the power. That means breaking the pattern physically. Move your body. Get up. Walk. Stretch. Splash cold water on your face. Do 10 push-ups. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Anything that jolts your nervous system out of the loop. Your mind and body are linked. Shift one, and you shift the other. The second tool is perspective shift. Spirals thrive on tunnel vision. You zoom in so tight on one problem that it feels like the whole world is collapsing. Pull back. Zoom out. Ask yourself, will this matter in a week, a month, a year? Most spirals dissolve under the weight of perspective. Or ask, if my best friend was in this situation, what would I tell them? You'd probably be kinder, calmer, more rational. So why not give that same wisdom to yourself? The third tool is thought stopping. This one is simple, but powerful. When you catch yourself spiraling, say stop out loud or firmly in your head, visualize a big red stop sign. This interrupts the automatic flow. It creates a moment of choice. In that moment, redirect your focus. Look at something in the room. Name 5 things you can see. Anchor yourself to the present. The fourth tool is the gratitude interrupt. Gratitude is incompatible with spiraling. You can't simultaneously drown in despair and feel genuine thankfulness. The nervous system cannot hold both states fully. So when you notice the spiral starting, list 3 things you're grateful for. Simple one. The roof over your head. The friend who texted you yesterday. The fact that you're still breathing. Gratitude shifts your state instantly because it moves your focus from what's missing to what's present. But what if you don't catch the spiral early? What if you're already deep in it? That's when you need recovery protocols. Step 1. Self-compassion. Acknowledge what's happening without judgment. Don't add shame on top of the spiral. Tell yourself, I'm in a spiral right now. That's okay. Everyone spirals sometimes. I can work my way out. This takes away the sting of failure. Step 2. Grounding. Bring yourself back to the present moment. Focus on your senses. What do I see? Hear, feel, smell, taste. This pulls your mind out of the storm of imagined disasters and roots you in reality. Step 3. Action. Do one small constructive thing. Wash the dishes. Write an email. Take out the trash. Anything simple and tangible. This proves to your brain that you're not powerless. You can still act. That action begins to rebuild momentum upward. Prevention is even better. Know your triggers. Maybe it's criticism. Maybe it's financial stress. Maybe it's rejection. Identify them and prepare scripts in advance. If criticism is a trigger, tell yourself, feedback is information, not a verdict. If rejection is a trigger, remind yourself, not everyone will say yes, and that's okay. These mental antibodies stop spirals before they spread. Another prevention strategy is daily mental hygiene. Just as you brush your teeth to prevent cavities, you can clear mental clutter to prevent spirals. Meditation, journaling, gratitude practice, movement. These habits strengthen your resilience so small triggers don't blow up into full spirals. And here's the deeper truth. Spirals don't mean you're broken. They mean you're human. Your brain evolved to notice threats and magnify them. That's survival wiring. But survival wiring is outdated in modern life. What once kept you alive now keeps you stuck. The work is to retrain your mind, to install new pattern, so that triggers don't automatically hijack you. Think of spirals like storms. You can't stop clouds from forming, but you can carry an umbrella, reinforce your house, and learn how to ride it out. Sometimes the storm will still hit. But with practice, it won't knock you down for long. You'll recover faster. You'll get stronger every time. So the next time you feel the spiral begin, remember the trigger, emotion, cascade. That's the anatomy. And your job is to interrupt it. Break the circuit with movement. Shift perspective with questions. Stop the thought with a firm no. Flood the system with gratitude. If you miss the early signs, recover with compassion, grounding, and small actions. You are not helpless. You are not a prisoner of spirals. You have tools. You have choices. And every time you interrupt a spiral, you weaken its grip. You prove to yourself that you can take back control. Life will always bring triggers, but spirals don't have to control your story. You can learn to cut them short, recover quickly, and rise stronger. That's resilient. That's mastery. And it starts the moment you decide, this spiral ends here. Your body has an immune system that fights off disease. Without it, every cold, every infection, every virus would take you down. Now here's the part most people never think about. Your mind needs the same thing, mental immunity. A defense system that protects you from negativity, toxic influences, and emotional viruses that can infect your thoughts and drain your energy because negativity is contagious. You felt it. You walk into a room where everyone's complaining, and within minutes you feel heavier. You spend time with someone who's always anxious, and suddenly your chest feels tight. You scroll social media filled with outrage and fear, and your own mood sinks. That's not a coincidence. It's biology. Your brain is wired with mirror neurons. These are special cells that automatically copy the emotional state of people around you. They evolved to help us connect, to stay safe in groups, to fit in with our tribe. But here's the downside. If you're around negativity, your mirror neurons reflect it back. You absorb it. You carry it. Unless you build immunity. So what is mental immunity? It's the ability to stay grounded in your own positive state, even when negativity surrounds you. It doesn't mean you never feel down. It doesn't mean you ignore problems. It means you don't get hijacked by other people's chaos. You stay steady, centered, clear. Let's talk about how to build it. The first practice is energy audits. Start paying attention to how people, places, and activities affect your energy before, during, and after an interaction. Ask yourself, do I feel lighter or heavier? Do I feel stronger or drained? Keep an energy journal for a week. Rate your energy in a scale from 1 to 10. You'll start to see patterns. Certain people always leave you uplifted. Others always leave you depleted. Certain environments spark creativity. Others suffocate it. These patterns matter. Awareness is step one. The second practice is boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are filters. They don't cut you off from people. They protect your space. A boundary might sound like, I can't talk about this right now. Or, I'd love to see you, but I need to leave by 9. Or even, I don't engage in gossip. Clear, direct, firm. Boundaries tell your nervous system, I am safe. I am in control. Without boundaries, you absorb everyone else's negativity like a sponge. With boundaries, you stay more like a filter. Clean water in, toxins out. The third practice is mental shield. This might sound abstract, but it's powerful. Before you step into a potentially draining environment, visualize a protective barrier around you. Imagine a clear bubble, a shield of light, or even armor. Whatever resonates with you, this shield lets positive energy in, but bounces negativity back. Athletes use visualization to perform at their best. You can use it to protect your mind. The subconscious responds to imagery. If you prime your mind with protection, you carry yourself differently. You stay resilient. The fourth practice is positivity boosters. These are the people, activities, and inputs that lift your state. a walk in nature, a workout, music that moves you, friends who make you laugh, books that inspire you, podcasts that expand your mind. You need these boosters daily. Think of them like vitamins for your mental health. Without them, you run on empty. With them, you recharge. Here's what most people miss. You don't wait until you're sick to build physical immunity. You strengthen it every day with rest, food, movement. The same applies mentally. Don't wait until negativity overwhelms you. Build your immunity daily. Start the morning with gratitude. Choose inspiring content. Move your body. Anchor yourself before the world has a chance to pull you down. Now let's be real. You can't avoid negativity completely. Life will bring difficult people, stressful situations, bad news. That's inevitable. But mental immunity means you can be in the storm without becoming the storm. You can hear someone complain without joining the chorus. You can see chaos without losing your center. Think of it like walking through the rain. If you have no umbrella, you get soaked. If you have weak immunity, you absorb negativity. But if you have an umbrella, you walk through dry. Mental immunity is that umbrella. And here's the deeper layer. The stronger your immunity, the more you can help others. When you're steady, you become an anchor for people who are spiraling. When you're positive, you lift the room instead of the room dragging you down. Strong immunity doesn't just protect you, it makes you a source of strength for others. So let me challenge you. This week, do 3 things. 1. Run an energy audit. Notice who and what drains you. 2. Set one new boundary. Protect your space. 3. Schedule one positivity booster into your day. Something that fuels you. Do these consistently, and you'll feel the difference. Mental immunity is not a luxury. It's survival in a world overflowing with noise, stress, and negativity. Without it, you get hijacked by other people's mood. With it, you become unshakable, steady, grounded. Remember you don't have to absorb every vibe in the room. You don't have to mirror every mood you see. You can choose. You can protect your energy. You can build immunity. Your body fights off disease so you can live. Your mind must fight off negativity so you can thrive. Build your defenses now, and you'll carry peace and power wherever you go. Your attention is the most valuable currency you own. Where it goes, your life goes. But most people are broke. Their focus is scattered, split, stolen by every notification, every distraction, every buzzing phone and flashing screen. The result is a shallow mind. Ideas never go deep. Insights never take root. Energy is constantly fragmented. You feel busy, but not productive. Active, but not effective. Here's the truth. Scattered attention is like trying to water a garden with a sprinkler that sprays in every direction. Everything gets a little wet, but nothing grows strong. Focused attention is like a hose aimed at one plant. The roots get soaked. Growth happens fast. Your brain is built for both modes. Open monitoring, where you're aware of everything happening around you. And focused attention, where you concentrate deeply on one thing. Both are important. But the problem is simple. We live in a world that constantly hijacks you into open monitoring. Ping, notification, buzz, switch, check. And every switch weakens your mental muscle for focus. Focus is a muscle. It gets stronger when you train it. We know from neuroscience that attention works like any other skill. The more you practice sustained concentration, the more your prefrontal cortex adapts to hold it. The less you practice, the weaker it gets. So the question is, are you training distraction or are you training focus? One of the simplest tools to build your focus muscle is the Pomodoro technique. Work in a 25-minute sprint. No distractions. Then rest for 5 minutes. Repeat. This creates rhythm. It makes focus feel manageable. Over time, you can stretch the sprints longer. 25 minutes becomes 40. 40 becomes an hour. The breaks keep you fresh. The sprints build stamina. But here's the next level: deep work, a phrase coined by Cal Newport. But the concept is ancient. Set aside blocks of 1 to 4 hours for cognitively demanding work. No multitasking, no phone, no email, just immersion. When you enter this state, your brain drops into flow, insights deepen, creativity explodes, productivity multiplies. 1 hour of deep work can equal an entire day of shallow work. Anchors help too. An anchor is a physical or mental signal you use to bring your focus back when it drifts. Your breath is a classic anchor. Every time your mind wanders, return to the inhale and exhale. Another anchor might be the feeling of your feet on the floor or your hands on the keyboard. Anchors train your brain to notice distraction and redirect attention quickly. Rituals are also powerful. Create a pre-focus routine that tells your brain it's time to concentrate. Clear your desk. Brew tea or coffee. Light a candle. Put on the same playlist. Set a timer. Small rituals cue your subconscious. They turn focus into a habit, not a struggle. Now let's talk about the ultimate trainer of attention: meditation. People think meditation is about relaxation. It's not. Meditation is attention training. It's the gym for your mind. When you sit quietly, focus on your breath, and bring your wandering attention back again and again, you're lifting mental weights. Every rep strengthens your concentration, and that strength transfers to everything else: work, learning, conversation, creativity. Even 10 minutes a day of meditation improves attention span. Studies show meditators can focus longer, resist distraction better, and recover faster when they do get distracted. It's mental resilience in action. But here's the urgency. Without training, your attention will keep fracturing. And when attention fractures, so does life. You never go deep enough to build mastery. You never stay long enough to create breakthroughs. You live in the shallows, pulled around by every external demand. That's a recipe for mediocrity. Think of the people who changed the world: writers, inventors, scientists, artists. They weren't multitasking their way to greatness. They were going deep. Hours of concentration, focus so intense the rest of the world faded away. That's where genius is born. So here's your challenge. This week, schedule one Pomodoro session a day. Just 25 minutes of pure focus. No phone, no interruptions. Next week, schedule one block of deep work. Protect it like gold. Create a ritual that primes your brain for concentration, and start a meditation practice. Even 5 minutes a day, train the muscle. Because focus is not about forcing your mind into rigid stillness. It's about creating a relaxed but alert state where your attention holds steady, like a candle flame that doesn't flicker in the wind. In that state, work feels lighter. Time disappears. Progress accelerates. Your attention is your superpower. Don't waste it on distractions. Aim it, train it, master it. Because when you master focus, you gain the ability to dig deep into your mind and pull out the ideas, solutions, and breakthroughs that change everything. The scattered stay average. The focus become extraordinary. Which one do you want to be? Habits build your life. Not the big dramatic choices you make once in a while, but the small repeated thought patterns you practice every single day. Those patterns run on autopilot. They shape your emotions. They drive your actions. They carve your future. You think you're making decisions in the moment, but most of the time you're just following grooves your mind has already laid down. And here's the reality. Most people's grooves are disempowering. They wake up and automatically think, I'm tired. They face a challenge and automatically think, I can't. They make a mistake and automatically think, I'm a failure. Those aren't conscious choices. They're mental habits. Neural pathways worn so deep they feel like truth. But they're not truth. They're just repetition. And repetition can be rewired. This is where empowering mental habits come in. You can deliberately install new default thought patterns that lift you instead of drain you. Imagine waking up and your first automatic thought is, today is full of possibility. Imagine facing a challenge and your automatic thought is, this is an opportunity to grow. Imagine making a mistake and immediately thinking, I just learned something valuable. That's not wishful thinking. That's habit. So how do you build these empowering thought habits? Let's break it down. The first technique is the replacement habit. Every time a limiting thought arises, swap it with an empowering one. Old pattern, I'll never figure this out. New pattern, I can figure this out step by step. Old pattern, this is too hard. New pattern, hard things grow me stronger. At first this feels forced, fake even. That's okay. You're rewiring. Every replacement is like paving a new trail in your brain. Walk it enough time, and it becomes the default path. The second technique is trigger identification. Habits don't happen in a vacuum. They're triggered by cues. Maybe stress at work triggers your I can't do this loop. Maybe seeing someone else succeed triggers your I'm not good enough loop. Maybe criticism triggers your I'll never be loved loop. Identify your triggers. Then prepare new scripts in advance. Next time stress hits, you're ready with, I've handled stress before. I can handle this too. Next time someone else shines, you tell yourself, their success is proof of what's possible for me. Preparation is power. The third technique is habit stacking. Attach your new thought habit to something you already do automatically. You brush your teeth every morning. While brushing, think of 3 things you're grateful for. You start your car. While driving, repeat an empowering affirmation. You make coffee. While it brews, visualize one small win for the day. By stacking new habits on old ones, you create mental upgrades without relying on memory or willpower. The fourth technique is the 21-day challenge. Research shows it takes consistent repetition to form new habits. Commit to practicing one empowering thought pattern every day for 21 days. Track it. Write it down. Celebrate small wins. After 3 weeks, you'll notice the shift. The thought will start to feel automatic. It won't take effort. It will take root. And here's the secret weapon: emotion. Habits don't stick through logic alone. They stick when you attach feeling. If you repeat an affirmation flatly, it's just words. But if you say it with conviction, if you imagine the feeling of success as you say it, the brain encodes it deeper. Emotion is the fertilizer that makes mental habits grow. Now let's talk about the compound effect. This is where the magic happens. One empowering thought won't change your life. One day of practice won't rewire your brain, but small changes repeated daily accumulate. They compound, just like saving $1 a day grows into thousands over years. One empowering thought a day grows into an unstoppable mindset over time. Picture 2 people. One feeds disempowering habits daily. The other feeds empowering ones. In a week, they look similar. In a month, they look slightly different. In a year, the gap is wide. In 5 years, they live in completely different worlds. Same starting point, different habits, different destinies. So here's the urgency. You are training your brain whether you mean to or not. Every thought you repeat becomes a vote for the kind of person you're becoming. Every repetition lays down wiring. The only question is, are you wiring limitation or wiring possibility? Practical psychology calls this automaticity. Once a thought pattern is repeated enough, it runs by itself, no effort required. That's why it's so important to build the right ones. Because once they're installed, they'll carry you forward without conscious strain. Here's your action plan. Pick one limiting thought that shows up often. Decide on its replacement. Identify the trigger. Stack it to an existing habit. Commit for 21 days. Add emotion to lock it in. Then move to the next, layer by layer. You'll build a mental operating system designed for growth, confidence, and resilience. Remember, empowering mental habits are not about pretending life is perfect. They're about training your brain to respond to imperfection in ways that make you stronger instead of weaker. Life will throw challenges, but your automatic thought will be, I can handle this. Life will bring setback, but your automatic thought will be, this is feedback, not failure. That's resilience on autopilot. Small thoughts repeated daily create massive outcomes. That's the compound effect of mental discipline, and it's available to you right now. The only thing standing between who you are and who you could become is the set of habits running in your head. Change the habit, and you change everything. So don't underestimate the power of one thought, one replacement, one repetition. It may feel tiny in the moment, but compounded over time, it becomes unstoppable momentum. And that momentum is what separates those who drift through life from those who design it. There comes a moment when you stop waiting for change to arrive from the outside and realize the shift has to begin within. This is that moment. Every chapter before this has been building to one truth. You are not the victim of your thoughts. You are the architect of your mind. And once you step into that identity, everything changes. Think about it. For years, maybe decades, you've carried the illusion that thoughts happen to you, that you're just along for the ride, stuck with whatever mental weather rolls in. Sunny one day, stormy the next. But now you know the truth. You control the forecast. You design the climate. You choose the thoughts that become your mental reality. That is not a small shift. That is an identity shift. And identity is everything because you will always act in alignment with who you believe yourself to be. So here's the challenge. Stop seeing yourself as a passive receiver of thoughts and start seeing yourself as the director, the programmer, the builder. You are the one who selects which thoughts get airtime and which ones get cut. That's power. That's responsibility. One of the most effective tools for locking in this identity shift is writing your personal mental constitution. Think of it like the rules of your inner nation, a declaration of how you will think from this moment forward. Write it down. Keep it simple. Keep it strong. For example, I choose thoughts that empower, not weaken me. I focus on solutions, not problems. I interpret setbacks as opportunities for growth. I treat myself with compassion and speak to myself with respect. I maintain gratitude, even in challenge. These aren't just pretty words. They're laws. And when you write them, you anchor your identity as the architect. But writing isn't enough. You have to train daily. Just like an athlete doesn't train once and expect lifetime strength, you cannot expect one decision to carry you forever. You build mental fitness through repetition, morning rituals of intention setting, daily audits of thought patterns, evening reflections on where you stayed aligned and where you drifted. Each practice is a rep. Each rep strengthens the muscle. Accountability accelerates growth. Share your commitment with someone you trust, a coach, a friend, a mentor, or even write it publicly. When others know what you stand for, you're more likely to live it. And accountability doesn't have to be external. Keep a journal. Track your progress. Hold yourself to the standards of your constitution. And here's the long game. Mental mastery is not a one-time achievement. It's a lifelong practice. There will always be new layers to uncover, new patterns to rewire, new challenges to strengthen you. Some days you'll slip. Some days the old patterns will try to creep back in. That's okay. Progress isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Each time you return to your constitution, each time you recommit, you deepen the identity of mastery. Now, let's close with the most empowering truth of all. The next thought you choose is the beginning of your new reality. Not tomorrow, not someday. Right now, this very moment, you can choose to think, I can't. Or you can choose to think, I will. You can choose to replay an old script of fear, or you can choose to write a new one of courage. That single choice matters because it's never just one thought. That thought sets the tone for the next and the next until it becomes a chain reaction shaping your entire day, your entire life. You've seen the science. Neuroplasticity proves your brain rewires based on what you repeat. You've learned the techniques, replacement habits, audits, ritual, focus training. You've built the tools, circuit breakers, shields, reframes. Gratitude interrupts. Now it's about ownership, choosing to live as the master of your mental domain. No one can do this for you. Not me, not a teacher, not a coach. You, only you. And that is the beauty of it. Because once you realize the power is yours, no one can take it away. Not circumstances, not critic, not the past. You own your mind. You design your reality. So let me ask you directly, who will you be from this moment on? A victim of recycled thoughts or an architect of new possibilities? A prisoner of old program or the creator of new mental landscapes? The choice is yours, and it begins now. Write your constitution. Train daily. Hold yourself accountable. Stay patient with the process. And never forget, the next thought you choose is the seed of your future. Plant it wisely. Nurture it with repetition and emotion. Watch it grow into the life you've always imagined. This is your turning point. Not a theory, not a wish. A decision. Step into the identity of architect. Claim your responsibility. Own your power. Because when you master your thoughts, you master your life. And when you master your life, you inspire others to believe they can do the same. The victim chapter ends here.